Have you noticed that giving, it just feels a little different now? I don't mean just different than last week, but really from 2020 on, things have shifted a lot. And that's what crisis does, right? Crisis accelerates trends that are already happening, and it certainly reveals things that have been kind of lying under the surface. And for us church leaders, that's something that we have noticed, seen, and experienced in really every facet of church, but especially maybe in giving. It isn't that giving isn't like catastrophic, at least for most churches. It isn't totally collapsing, but it does feel like it's slower. People seem more hesitant. Definitely giving is less predictable than it used to be. And when things like that happen, most pastors do exactly what they've been trained to do, right? We start making or asking tactical kind of questions about giving, right? Things like, do we need to teach on generosity again or more? Do we need a one-off message? Do we need to have more small group curriculum that we, force small groups to go through? Do we need to develop a series on this? Do we need better vision moments? Do we need more clarity during the service around giving moments? Do we need to cast, the why behind it more passionately, or tell more stories about impact? And I don't know, maybe all of those things should be done more. Maybe we should always be focused on making those things better. Probably we should. But while those are good questions, I'm just not convinced, and I've been able to work with, hundreds of churches in the last 5 years, and watching all of them, especially even the ones I'm working with right now. I'm just not convinced that those questions or those focus points are the right ones, at least alone, anymore. I think there are other ways to think about giving and move people kind of along a generosity journey. And here's why. I think the real shift that we're experiencing in generosity, underneath it all, it isn't a financial issue. And it's easy to think it is, right? Especially post-2020. We've had inflation. There's been so much unrest and uneasiness, even though a lot of people are maybe even doing better financially right now who are in your churches. Maybe they're doing great, but the market's been pretty good over 5 years, right? There's been moments, but overall, things have been good. Maybe you live in a place where the socioeconomics are positive. Maybe the majority of people at your church are white collar, more executive types. And so, I don't know, maybe it isn't just a financial issue, because I don't think it is. I actually think it's a relational issue. Here's kind of what I mean, okay? For a long time, generosity kind of functioned more like a discipline. And this was definitely true when Christianity was cultural, right? When Christianity was cultural, which it is not anymore, but back when it was, people behaved, who were Christians, they acted Christian, right? Because that's what Christians do. Now, they didn't act great all the time, but when it came to things like giving, people would kind of give, or at least they would tip, because it was expected, right? The plate would come by, you'd put a little money in it. And it doesn't mean that you were tithing, right? It doesn't mean that you had a great plan, a percentage priority plan, but most people who followed Jesus were a little bit more open-handed with their generosity. And the reason is that it was cultural. It's kind of expected. I almost want to say it was kind of automatic. And again, I don't mean that everybody was tithing automatically. We certainly had to teach on all that, but giving at some level felt a little bit more normative, of course, than it does today. That world, if you haven't noticed, is gone, because cultural Christianity is gone. Today, people rarely ask, can I afford this? What people are actually asking when it comes to money is a relational question. Can I trust this? Think about this. That's the relational point that I'm trying to make. Trust is a relational concept. And when it comes to giving today, it is all about trust. It's not about what's expected. It's not even, unfortunately, about just being a good disciple of Jesus, especially for people who aren't giving or who are new to giving, right? Now, I don't know if you've read about this or not. It's very interesting. You should study this if you're, like me and kind of nerd on these kinds of things. We really are living in a more low trust environment than we used to, right? If you think about it, institutions of really every kind have lost credibility in huge ways. And listen, that includes churches. Churches may be doing a little better, or your church may be doing a little better than just institutions at large, but none of us are immune to this new reality. I mean, think about in the last even 10 or 15 years, that trend was starting a while ago, but how we have collectively lost trust in government, in large organizations, companies, you name it, right? Like that institutional trust has been eroding. News media, again, maybe everything we're getting from news media is pretty accurate, but we never even questioned it, or at least definitely didn't question it as much 10, 15, 20 years ago. Now, and maybe this is just me, but I don't think it is. I think we all question almost everything that we hear, that we read, that we're told, because trust has been eroding, and this is very much true for institutions. So even people who love their church are way more cautious about the organization of the church than they used to be, which explains a lot about generosity. This is why generosity, it hasn't, disappeared, but it is kind of being redirected in a way. So people obviously are still giving. And by the way, a lot of people are still giving generously. But by and large, people give where trust feels clear, where it's earned, where it feels personal. I just don't see a lot of Christians giving because they're supposed to. I see people giving because they trust where they're giving. They trust the leadership. They trust what's going to happen with the money. This, by the way, this is why so many people are hesitant to give consistently to a church budget, but they will immediately give to a GoFundMe or a local nonprofit, right, where the impact just feels very obvious and you can connect the dots between giving and impact. Again, the people that we're talking about here, they're not being rebellious. They're just being cautious. And our world, our culture has taught us to be that way today. So here's where you, as a pastor, and your pastoral leadership starts mattering way more than ever before. Most churches, right, and we've done this forever, we kind of treat generosity decline as a teaching problem, like I said, or a vision problem. And yeah, sometimes those are factors and we need to be working on those. But I'm just not sure in today's world they're really the root issue, the root cause. Because a low trust culture, in a low trust culture, generosity really just follows confidence. Okay, let me say, I think this is really important. Let me say this again. In a low trust culture, which I don't know that we're in a full low trust culture, but we are heading more that way than high trust. So in a low trust culture, generosity follows confidence, and confidence follows intentional leadership. You know that because you have confidence in things that are led well. You have confidence in people who are trustworthy, right? So what this means is that trust is, and think of it this way, trust is rarely built like during an offering moment at your church, right? Trust is built by what people observe and experience over time. People are actually paying attention to how decisions are made, how money is discussed when there isn't a capital campaign. They're paying attention to how church leaders respond to mistakes that are made, right? Whether priorities are staying consistent or everything's always shifting. That's how trust is built, right? Trust isn't built in, a moment. It's built over time, a collection of moments that form patterns. So this is why financial, clarity, this isn't an administrative issue anymore. It's a pastoral, it's a relational conversation. So when people understand where the money goes, how decisions are made, and what kind of accountability exists, something actually does begin to shift inside them. And what's shifting is confidence and trust. They begin to relax a little more. And again, it isn't because they agree with everything, but they do feel safe. They feel confident. They trust the leader of the organization that is asking them to support it. And that's what clarity does. Clarity really informs people so that they can be formed. That's what clarity does. It forms people, but it forms them by informing them well. So you can think about, right, inconsistency, even like unintentional inconsistency. It does the opposite. It raises questions that leaders, right, never even meant to have asked. And this is where I really want to encourage you as a church leader. Okay, if generosity pressure has been growing or is weighing on you, the answer is not to push harder. The answer is probably to lead more intentionally. Short-term generosity, right, can be fueled by emotion. You can tell a compelling story or a sad story. I mean, think about the local humane society, who, by the way, I'm a fan of. But they'll have an ad on television or on social with, dogs that look like they're weeping, and the Sarah McLachlan "I Will Remember You" song. It's highly emotional. And you can generate short-term generosity with a really powerful story. But first of all, that's just short term. And secondly, it's not discipleship. We're looking to help people take a long-term journey of generosity. And that is only fueled by trust and confidence. Confidence grows when leaders do the right things the right way, and they keep doing them long enough for trust to form. I mean, here's a simple leadership filter that you can even use this week around this conversation. Just ask yourself, and if you're really, really bold, ask some people around you about you. What does our leadership communicate when we're not talking about money? Like, what do you think people feel about our church and our leadership here? What kind of confidence are we instilling? Do we think people really trust us, and not just financially? Do people trust us as leaders, that we are prayerfully led by the Spirit, making good decisions, seeking wise counsel? And are we honest about that, right? When people hear us from stage, do we come across as authentic and relational and connected? Or do we come across as maybe someone who isn't necessarily trustworthy? I mean, asking those kinds of questions or having those kinds of conversations, it reveals so much about not just the overall culture, but the generosity culture. It's going to reveal more than any giving report is ever going to reveal. Now, of course, there's some great news in this, right? I think overall people want to be generous, and I think people want to be generous to the things that are benefiting them. My guess is that if people are attending your church, that your church is benefiting them. They're not against giving. They just want clarity about where they're giving, and more importantly, who they're trusting when they give. And when that kind of clarity begins to shape your culture, generosity will change. But the only way for that to happen is for you as a leader to be incredibly intentional and allow people to see that intentionality.